everybody, it's Kristen Norris here from Shape Your World. I hope you're having an incredible weekend, a very happy Sunday, and it's time for this week's Sunday sermon from my heart to yours. I am in Middle England, you could say mid-England. I'm in this gorgeous, amazing home. I'll just show you a little bit of it so you can see. It's some may call it rustic. It's a 16th century manor house, which this is obviously the kitchen. This is the main kitchen. There's actually two. And where we are back in the day, it would have been countryside. It would have been quite rural, I guess is the way to put it. And I've got one dog that kind of is wandering around. I've got another dog here. Do you want to say hi? Hello. And then another lovely lady right here. And there are ducks outside. This is surrounded. There's a really beautiful field in the back. I'm here house and pet sitting. Oh, hello. Someone else is making an appearance. Hey, honey. So yeah, you've seen the dogs now, and there are some ducks, and it's a beautiful location. The house I'm in, it's really amazing actually, the synchronicity. I'll share it with you briefly, that the wife of the couple, she was actually a speaker for a conference I went to in Brussels earlier this year, and we got talking within 5 minutes, realized we were a match made in house and pet sitting heaven. And yeah, it was so beautiful. She said, "Oh, you're a house sitter. We need one. Are you available these dates?" And well, yeah, actually, it fit perfectly for me with bookings I already had. So yeah. I am here. It's gorgeous, and it's interesting being in this space and place as well. It's a really somewhere you could say has really good energy is one way to put it. Obviously, it's very clear. I've been in so many homes, and everywhere has a really distinct, interesting energy and feel to it. Even if you don't consider yourself attuned to things like the energy of a home, I'm sure you've had an experience where you've walked in somewhere and it's just felt really nice to you, or felt comforting or warm. Likewise, you may have had experiences where things have felt a bit cold to you, or just a little bit off or strange or whatever. So anyway, every home has its own energy. And just as we as individual beings, we all have our own specific set and level of energy to which we vibrate, and what we give off without even thinking about it. We all do this, and we project it into the world. So anyhow, yeah, homes have that as well. And it's been amazing to be here during this time with, how shall I call this? A divine, beautiful, really big up-leveling point for me and in my life. And while I'm talking to you, I'm making some food, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sort this out a little bit. But it really is. Oh, it's not done yet. Okay, so it's remarkable to me to be in this space right now that does have such a beautiful energy, and I'm so blessed, and I feel so grateful for all of it always. And this week has been a really interesting one for me. Some of you may have been experiencing similar, if not the exact same circumstances, maybe similar energies and themes. And it's been a really big one for a lot of us in terms of realizing that it's really time for us to be done with certain patterns, maybe fears, worries that we've had and been holding on to. Whether you consider yourself a more learned spiritual person, energetic person, or not, It kind of doesn't matter. We're all being presented with the opportunity to really step up and decide and show ourselves in a really big way, and like all the parts that make us us. So our energy, our emotions, our memories, our thoughts, and also in that, to show the world that we're ready, that actually we're ready and we know it's time. And so we're being given all of these opportunities, and if we don't take them straight away, those opportunities will keep coming up again and again and again. It's a little bit like, my joke for myself anyway is to say it's a little bit like being gently hit over the head with a sledgehammer. So not exactly subtle, but at the same time, it's loving. I know they're doing it. All the parts that make me me and my spirit team, so that's my spirit guide, source, etc. They've developed a way of working with me that is very much, how shall we say, they get the point across. And they make sure that I know it very well. And I've got to the point where I trust and I know exactly what's going on. And sometimes I might feel like I want to be a little bit more stubborn and put off the changes that need to happen. And other times I feel like, actually, yeah, that's fine. I can do it. The dogs just want to go outside, so while we're chatting, let's let them out. So it's been an interesting week for me with all of that going on, and really also knowing that it's time and it's okay to be in this space of big up leveling and making really big changes. See, there have been periods in my life where if I was asked, or if I knew such big steps up in my life and my business were needed, it would have scared the bejesus out of me, so much so that, it's not to say I don't experience fears anymore, because we always do. That's just a part of each of our journeys all the time. But the way we deal with it changes. That's part of the up leveling, is that you can recognize what's going on and you recognize it really quickly, and you don't experience the same level of, say, paralyzing fear or anxiety about taking the steps that you know will help you. So that's where changes can happen. It's not that we don't experience fears at all. Of course we do. But yeah, the way we deal with it changes. So that's what's been going on for me this week. And I have been, so with that, it's called up leveling. When you experience things or know that there are things you need, it's time for you to work on, or to go through, and the way to which you deal with it differs. And you deal with it in a much, for you, better, more emotionally healthy as well, you could say, way. All that sort of stuff can happen. And yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. And I'm just doing this. That's okay. I'll sort this out. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit here. So it's a really interesting space and place for me. And the up leveling for me in particular has been really releasing and letting go in a really big way. Any remaining things from the most recent past lifetime I've had in this chronological linear timeline, because we do live in a multidimensional universe, which means we can have parallel lifetimes going on. We can have, we may be experiencing what we feel is our current lifetime, and there can be future lifetimes going on as well, all of that stuff. So anyway, for me, the most recent past lifetime, chronologically, was in Nazi Germany, actually. And that can be really scary for some people to hear. And so I've been venturing, as I always do, I've been venturing into going more public with this, or speaking about it. No, it doesn't have to be a big deal. So going public, even like that, puts a gravitas on it that doesn't necessarily need. Just I've been talking about it a bit more, and in a way that is different from what I've done previous in my life. Again, in terms of anxiety levels and in terms of things really getting in my way with it. Getting in my way of being able to step into my truth. And so this is a period in my life where that stuff isn't going on. I'm not feeling or experiencing being held back in the same way that I used to previously, if I think back. And it's really incredible to have all that going on. And so this past lifetime in Germany, I'll just share briefly. I was a member of the Nazi Party. I actually, in that lifetime, I genuinely, oh, sorry, sweetie. One of the dogs I almost walked into. Anyway, so I genuinely believed in the cause. Believe me, there has been loads of healing around all of that, and going into my Akashic records and clearing stuff and really doing what I can to take the steps I've needed with all of this, so that, because that was difficult for me when I first realized it. And I'm just pouring some water for my throat. It's feeling tickly. But yeah, so there's been a lot of stuff to heal from that, and it's perhaps a bit still ongoing in respects. My throat getting tickly, that can be seen as a part of the up-leveling as well, because speaking about this, being more visible, is one of the energies that I've been working on and I've been going through this week. And visibility and being seen and being heard and being truthful and honest about, look, this is me. This is what I'm going through. This is what is going on for me is something that has featured heavily in this lifetime as well. And it's interesting for me on kind of an analytical level how much our current lifetimes and the things we can go through, so like the major themes, can be reflections, and often are actually reflections of what we've gone through in previous lifetimes or parallel lifetimes. So unresolved energies, unresolved emotions, undealt with difficult situations. And they come up and they're a really effing big deal in our current lifetimes, because it's something our soul wants us to be able to deal with. All the parts that make us us want us to be able to come to terms with, so we can move on, so that we can heal, so that this stuff won't continue to hold us back or be a worry in any way. And so I've had a lot of stuff in this current lifetime around my ability to use my voice. When I was younger, there were a lot of throat-based viruses and illnesses. I had strep throat loads. I was constantly getting strep throat. This actually came after something that happened when I was 3. And it was really traumatic for me as a 3-year-old. And it had to do with me, or part of what I took away from it, I shall say, and part of what affected me, were the themes around using my voice and being heard and being listened to, and my needs and my boundaries as that 3-year-old being respected. And I, as a 3-year-old, didn't feel that happened. In retrospect, as an adult, there could have been a compromise for me as a 3-year-old, but it is true, my needs and boundaries weren't respected as a 3-year-old. And I wasn't heard, I wasn't listened to. And so that connection between not being respected, not having my voice heard, understood, and I guess adhered to, you could say, had an effect, because part of the recurring sore throat, strep throat, all of this stuff, what developed was literally that part of me, my throat chakra, your voice, your throat, your authenticity, your truth, my truth, it wasn't heard and it wasn't respected. And so that part of me was almost literally screaming to get me to pay attention, and to pay attention in a really big way, to be like, you're not listening. You need to take care of me. Something's really wrong here. Now, as an adult, I understand so much more about the way our physical health and so on can have a direct corollary and connection with things that we go through on an emotional level and a spiritual level and an energetic level. As a kid, I didn't understand all that stuff. Not really. I might have with my, in my soul, but not in my brain. Not logically, not analytically. And so it's been really interesting for me realizing some of these connections and some of what was going on for me, because I was almost always sick. I was a really sickly kid. And it extended for a period of my life until, actually, if I think about it, until I started using my voice more and feeling more confident about being listened to, and having, I suppose, better coping mechanisms for me also, where I felt safer. And so my throat didn't need to get my attention as much, but it was still there. And there have been things I've gone through as I've gotten older that you can, if you get down to the core and the root of it, there is definitely and has been a throat connection for a lot of things. And and again, feeling like my voice hasn't been heard in the past. Also, with this past lifetime in Nazi Germany, I was quite bullshit. I had a good opinion of myself. I've had infinite amount of self-esteem. I believed in myself. I had a lot of self-confidence. And I spoke my mind. So initially I was one of those that honestly thought all Hitler, etc. I honestly believed that they were going to save Germany. I really, really did. At that point in Germany's history, things were really bad. People were literally starving. And I was concerned. A lot of people were concerned. And I honestly thought that Nazism was going to help us in the beginning. I also had a lot of Jewish friends, a lot of Jewish people in our family, the family I grew up in that lifetime. A lot of people in the hometown I grew up in. Like, I looked it up afterward once I realized all of these connections. I got into my Akashic records, and basically what happened is one day all I was trying to do was ground, which I do every day as part of my daily energetic practice. And I was crying so much I couldn't even ground. And I thought, this is ridiculous. After several attempts of grounding, I was crying so strongly that I went straight into my Akashic records. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, this is what it's all about. And that's why I was crying so much. it was all of these emotions and energies starting to come out. And so since then, diving into that life more and looking at, okay, well, what else is going on? What else is unresolved? What else happened? And what are the major themes that my soul would like me to work on and to look at? I, in that lifetime, grew up very privileged, very wealthy. I was also an actress, and I liked the adulation. I also loved the craft. I loved it. I still have that part of me now. I've loved movies as an art form since I was a really little girl. So way before, I knew anything about Akashic Records or souls or past lives, or like on a conscious level, on a mental level. And so there have been aspects of that lifetime, positive and not so great, that have come through into this lifetime for sure. And again, so I grew up privileged, was an actress, and then became a member of the Nazi Party, and and then as things were going on, I started realizing this isn't good. This stuff isn't great. But by then, I felt very trapped for various reasons. One of them being that my husband was a member of the party as well. He was in the military. And he felt very similarly to me. We were both realizing this shit is bad. To put it very, very mildly, very mildly. And so and actually his brother as well, actually risked a lot to try and help family members and friends from harm, because we knew what was coming. We knew what was happening. And he was in a position where he got inside information a lot. And we risked loads. We also had a daughter in that life, so we were risking her life also to save people. And I became very well known for speaking my mind and not always, some would say, not always having mind or care for the reality we were in. Because I got so fired up and so angry about things that were going on, and some of the things my husband would tell me was going on, that I couldn't hold it in. I had to say something, because a lot of stuff that was happening was so wrong and messed up, and was also really going against, and I felt strongly, see, I can still, even talking about it, that part of me is still there. Felt so strongly that it was also putting shame on the memory of our country, and of our forefathers and our ancestors, and what was it all for if this is what we were doing, right? So there was that also, besides the fact it was just completely wrong. A lot of what went on. So anyway, you can see this has been something I've been working through and looking at and diving into and healing everything that has needed to be healed. Well, in speaking out and being so blunt, as you can expect, not everyone liked my opinion. Not everyone wanted to hear it. And we got in trouble. My husband in that life literally had to apologize on my behalf to Mr. H himself. And so there was that kind of stuff going on also. And so using my voice became something that became overwhelmingly clear to me. It became not safe. It put me and others, those I loved and cared about, in danger. And, there was a threat. And so in this lifetime, there have been a lot of things, once again, there have been a lot of things that have happened that there has been an overarching theme of whether or not to use my voice, whether or not to speak up, and a part of me feeling very unsafe in doing so and getting in trouble when I did, and etc. But at the same time, a really strong part of me that still has that maverick, that still has that rebellious, that still has that this is messed up, guys, side. And so there have been loads of situations where I've had decisions of, do I say something or not? And sometimes I have, and sometimes I haven't. And at the same time, there has been a part of me from that initial thing that happened when I was 3, so that little girl inside that has felt unsafe or worried about me speaking out because, what if this happens? What if that happens? So with that, the fear of speaking out and being heard has also been a fear of visibility, a fear of being seen, a fear also of potentially getting too big for my britches or people thinking I am, and really not wanting to be conceited or seen as conceited either, arrogant, etc. And so it's so fascinating to realize all of this stuff and to realize where some of it stems from. Some of it goes back to a lifetime much more ancient, all the way back to Atlantis, potentially Lemuria, potentially other planets as well. But there have been these overarching themes. And this life really has been and is an opportunity to get stuff right. Although that puts a different connotation on it because we can never get anything wrong, but to really finally resolve things. And so this week has been really interesting for all of that, and also a beautiful opportunity. So not only have I been going into my own Akashic records, but I've also been taking action steps, because that's part of the beauty of this life and of this world, is to really balance our feminine, our spiritual, our softness, our emotions, with the masculine, with the part that is very into action, pro-action, taking action steps, making shit happen. Not shit, because none of it's bad, but doing what we need to do so we go in a good direction for us. And we can make change happen in a really real, tangible, action step, everyday, real life way as well. So these things we can talk about on the ethereal plane, the spiritual plane, the energetic plane. There have been loads of action steps I've also been taking to really ground in this healing, this releasing of energies, of worries, of fears that I don't need anymore. This is the lifetime where I don't need that stuff. And it's, really, we're in a number 1 year as well, 2017. I've spoken about it in previous Sunday sermons. Number 1 year. New start, fresh start, clean slate. And this is part of how all of that ties in, is really on very logical, tangible action step ways, literally being done with that which we no longer need. And see, once we release this stuff, once we heal it, once we release the stranglehold of fear and anxiety and tension that can happen when we have unresolved or we can have unresolved emotions, unresolved energy, things left that are no longer solving us, or serving us, I should say. When we have all that, and we finally deal with it, oh, feels amazing. Feels amazing. And what we're also doing, along with it feeling really good, is we are literally releasing from our energy. So you feel it. Sometimes people can start crying when they're releasing things they no longer need. Some people literally feel a lessening of tension from their shoulders. We can carry and hold on to a lot of tension and unresolved emotions and so on in our shoulders and our back and our neck as well. Sometimes headaches, that can be another sign. And so literally it feels good. It's good for our bodies. It's good for our physical form. It's good for our energetic self as well. And it's been amazing this week. And so again, along with releasing all of this stuff energetically, I've been taking action steps as well, because we do need that balance of the masculine and the feminine with everything we do. And that's part of the goal. You may have heard it described as yin yang or feng shui. That's another way to look at it. Obviously, feng shui is known more for that balance we can have in our homes. But for our purposes today, and what I do to help people is to look at how can we have that balance, that desired balance of peace and happiness and heartfulness within, to be able to come from love and be able to feel and experience love. How can we do that and at the same time have that reflected in our external surroundings? Well, whenever we heal things, whenever we release stuff we don't need anymore, whenever we know it's time for our next version of us to step up, we can really ground that into our everyday reality by taking these action steps. And that's where the masculine comes in to balance and to give help and loving support to the feminine aspect inside. So some of the action steps I've been doing, just some, include leaving all groups for and from the woman who was previously my teacher, leaving all groups and continuing to tie up loose ends for and with that. And there will be a few more loose ends to tie up. And it feels really good to know that those are coming. I've also been, I've already found the woman who will be my next teacher, who feels really good for this next stage, this next step. And I've also been continuing to collaborate with women who I am doing workshops with this year. I've sent in an article that was waiting on me for an international online magazine and publisher. And the editors were waiting for my final edit, so I sent that in this week. And there are loads of other things that I'm in the process of doing. So all of this is to say that as amazing and beautiful as it is, and necessary and important, to look at these things on the emotional side, the energetic side, and spiritual plane, it's also really important for all the parts that make us us to take steps in the everyday as well. One, because it feels good. We get that sense of accomplishment and happiness when we do so, when we see these changes happening in our everyday real life. Also, it feels good to all the parts that make us us. Also, it means that we are learning and we're integrating what we've needed to learn on a soul level, on a spiritual level, as well as emotional. And that feels amazing. Feels effing good, guys. So for me, again, there's been a lot of stuff around visibility. There's been a lot of stuff around stepping up. Making this video is a part of my ongoing visibility but also talking about this specifically and sharing with you about that most recent past life and so on, that is another really big step for me and a part of what my soul needs me to do. And see, there's another aspect to all of this, and that is that we are each here to inspire and to help one another. If I don't speak about these things, if I don't live the truth that I share with my clients in group work, in these videos, for instance, and in the Facebook group that I host, if I don't live that in my life, what's the point? What's it all for? And so it's really important to me to have that integrity, to have that honesty and that alignment with my authenticity that happens when I walk my talk. And that's something we all need. That's something you need too. And there's a real opportunity for each of us to really examine and to be honest about it, and to look at where are the spaces and places where we're not living in our honest, full truth, or doing as great as we could be. And accounting for the fact that we are human. So there may be days where things feel a little bit off, and then that's okay. But where are the overarching themes that we could be getting better? And what can we do about it? What steps can we take? What steps are necessary to get us back where we would like to be, as well as to propel us even further and into the greatest, most incredible aspect of our own being, of ourselves, within our lives, for our business and our relationships as well. So this is a bit of a challenge for you, a gentle challenge, should you like to take it. And it's to really be honest with yourself. Where are the spaces and places where you're not living in full alignment? Or maybe you're not being as open or honest about your truth. Maybe there are action steps that you know you could be taking, but you haven't been. You've been sitting on them. Really be able to look at and ask yourself, why? Why? And then be honest and truthful about what is needed so those things no longer hold you back. And so you can take action where you know you need to, and you know where it's going to help you. And to be confident in doing that also. And if you need some help with it along the way, to go out and get the help and support you need, because we each deserve it. We each deserve help and support. I have definitely had support along my journey, for sure. And as I already shared, I've already found the teacher who will be helping me in this next part of my path. Incredible woman. And we all deserve that. You deserve that too. We are each here together and in human societies, human bodies, for a reason. You know, some of us may be a bit more introverted. I'm an introvert, although I play an extrovert on TV, but I am an introvert. So I get it. Some of us are more shy than others. I get it. But we are each here on this planet and in human beings' bodies and in human societies for a reason. We all chose this. And part of that is to be able to learn to work together, to be able to come to a balance and a harmony within ourselves, within our own lives, of our beautiful divine masculine and divine feminine, sacred sexuality and all that stuff, empowerment, sacred, beautiful empowerment as well. We're each here to come to a place of peace and happiness and love within ourselves, at the same time to have that reflected and to have that be a part of our external reality. And we're here to help one another on this earth, in this world, on this planet. So, what can you do? What can you do to get even closer to where you want to be? What steps can you take to take you to the person you would like to be? What help do you need to get you there? And what steps are you willing to take to make sure you get the help and support that you deserve? Because you do deserve it. Lovely. Lovely, dear ones. You do. You do. We each do. So I leave that with you. I leave you with those beautiful thoughts. And whether it's help and support from me or anyone else, we live in an abundant universe and world, and that help and support is there for you, as it is for each of us always. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. I work with clients one-to-one. I have a gift I'm really good at. Honestly, I have my success rate is 3 to 5 seconds average for getting to the root and the core and knowing immediately what is at the heart of why you're not moving forward in the way you need to be. And therefore, my success rate is equally rapid. That's why I call myself an intuitive transformational coach and intuitive transformational healer and rapid ascension coach. That's why I call myself that, because the results I get are really rapid. So the next rapid result for you will be to get that healing and for you to be able to experience it. And my life, part of why I share things that are going on for me personally, is so that you can see a bit of my process, because that process is what I share with all of you, and I help you through and I guide you through, so that the emotions, the spiritual aspect can be in the healing, can be reflected in your everyday reality, so that you can have the life that you've always wanted and the business of your dreams and spiritual path dreams as well. So again, whether it's with me or anyone else, I encourage you to get in touch, to take the action you need, and that will feel good too. And I'm sending you all so much love always for you. Thank you for being with me, everyone, and I'm thinking of you. All the best. Have a happy Sunday. Enjoy. And shine your light on this beautiful planet. We need you to. We need your love. All the best. Bye. Bye for now.